originally from Pakistan and I moved to Australia in December 2014. I really love making cakes. It's really given me a joy when I'm doing that job. Baking is really my passion.
When Fahad Amir accepted a job in 2015 baking with one of the country's most well-known cake shops, he believed it would secure his future in Australia.
The owner actually offered me a sponsored visa. He offered me that if I work there for him for a long time, for the prescribed time, so I can get a permanent residency through that.
But Fahad claims his dream of permanent residency was used by his employer to exploit him.
I was working there for normally 6 days a week from 8:30 to 7 p.m. We were being paid $140 for a day.
Employers have an incredible amount of power over migrant workers who they've sponsored to be here. This is a massive problem with our migration system.
It was a big cultural shock. It was easy to adjust with the weather and stuff, but then we always used to work and stuff, always thinking about it.
Fahad is one of 4 migrants who allege they were underpaid at the Salisbury Cheesecake Shop in Adelaide's northern suburbs when it was under previous management. Mohammed Saqib was a pastry cook at the store between 2018 and 2020.
When you work long hours and 6 days a week and you don't have proper rest, you feel very bad. I remember when I started, I struggled with that. I used to sit in the bathtub every day when I finish work for hours.
Well, the minimum rate that workers would be getting in this sector at the moment is $23.38. We think in many cases these workers were being paid something like $13 an hour and not getting paid leave.
Almost all cheesecake shops are independently owned and operated franchises. At the time of the alleged underpayment, the Salisbury store operated under the business name Toost, which sponsored 3 of the men's skilled migrant visas. Fahad says he felt powerless to complain about his alleged underpayment.
I was under the impression that if something is being reported by owners to immigration, it will end up in a bad immigration issue and maybe I have to go back to Pakistan.
In late 2021, the union on Fahad's behalf wrote to the owner of the Salisbury franchise, Syed Shah, about the alleged underpayment. By this time, Fahad had secured permanent Australian residency.
When I got my permanent residency, I got more confidence about the stuff which I couldn't speak before.
A fortnight later, Fahad received an email telling him he was sacked.
It was really, really stressful for me and I was like in a shock.
Hi Fahad, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Fahad has lodged an unfair dismissal claim which will go to trial in the federal court next month.
How are you feeling about it? The fact that he was sacked after making this complaint is the exact reason why workers don't complain in the first place.
When approached by 7:30, Syed Shah's lawyer said his client had no comment but would defend the allegations in court. Court documents show Shah has accused Fahad of breaches, including theft and forging his signature on key immigration documents. Did you steal money from the business?
Never ever. It's a false allegation.
In the South Australian Employment Tribunal, the union has lodged a claim for more than $1 million in back pay for Fahad, Mohammed Saqib and the 2 other workers. Fahad claims he was told not to record all the hours he worked on the official payroll system.
I was being instructed by the owners that when I clocked off, so it's for the head office, but my normal routine throughout that period was from morning to end of the day on the shop opening hours. So I clocked off but still I'm working in the store.
Court documents show that Syed Shah denies this and claims he never directed staff to work any hours other than what was on the roster. He's accused the 4 men who are friends of making up the underpayment claim.
I just want to get my pay back, what I worked for.
The type of support that Cheesecake Shop gives us is things like training, bookkeeping services. They do all of that, take the pressure off.
The payroll system for each franchise is managed by the Cheesecake Shop Group. The union wants the court to fine the franchisor hundreds of thousands of dollars on the grounds that it should have known that its system was being used to exploit workers.
They know how many labour hours it takes to produce a certain amount of work. They know how the system must produce a certain amount of sales. It seems to us that the Cheesecake Shop should have or did know about it and could have stopped it.
The Cheesecake Shop Group declined 730's request for an interview, but in a statement said the company has always required strict compliance with the Fair Work Act by its franchisees. The spokesman said it's inappropriate to comment on specific details while the case is before the courts, but legal documents show the company is denying any liability. The Salisbury franchise changed ownership at the start of last year.
We exposed the wage scam at the heart of the multi-billion-dollar convenience store empire.
Migrant worker exploitation is an issue that's dogged successive federal governments.
There is clear evidence of the systematic nature of exploitation in Australia's labour market.
Last month, the Albanese government introduced legislation which includes new criminal penalties for employers who do the wrong thing.
We're talking about the most egregious breaches, which recognise how serious and systematic this behaviour has become. So it could mean jail time of up to 2 years in those circumstances where that sort of prosecution is warranted.
The minister says Australia's migration system is also under review.
And one of the key questions we're looking at is the appropriateness of sponsorship arrangements. We know that a big issue when it comes to the exploitation of migrant workers is the prospect of their path to permanent residency being held over them.
Mohammed Saqib has since returned to Pakistan, but hopes his experience will help other migrant workers.
Everyone has good future dreams, to make their life better. Purpose of this, it won't happen with anybody else after this. So they can't do it anymore with anybody in Australia.
Fahad Amir is now an Australian citizen. He's currently working as a security guard, but one day hopes to return to cake making.
Actually, I got my certification in patisserie. My ultimate goal is to open up a business with the cakes and pastries and also the baking stuff.
These workers deserve to be back paid every single cent.